Well, it is time for the Carabao Cup final, which means we need to be a little bit more presentable than this. So, if you bear with me 1 second. Let's do it. How you doing, everybody, and welcome to part 6 of the Aston Villa series here on FM24. My name is Stu. Thank you for joining me in today's video where I'm literally choking myself with this tie. We're going to be playing in the cup final. It is against Manchester City. Woo! That's going to be interesting. And then we've got we're going to play the first leg off camera of the Europa Conference League. Is it the round of 16? Yes, it is round of 16 against Sparta Prague. That's going to go off camera, and then we're going to come back for the second leg. So in between the Man City game in the Carabao Cup final and that game, we'll play Arsenal in the FA Cup, West Ham in the Premier League, first leg of the Europa Conference League, and a game against Luton. And if you're excited to see whether we can win our first bit of silverware in this save in the first season, and if we can go through to the quarterfinals of the Europa Conference League, then do not forget, as always, to leave a like on the video for me and to subscribe so you don't miss any of the nonsense that comes out of this space right here. Since you were last with us, well, it's been quite good. If I'm being honest with you, it's been quite good. I think it was around here that we last came back. I can't actually remember. It was in and around this area. We definitely came back for the second leg against Bournemouth. It might have even been the FA Cup game against Sunderland as well. So since then, we actually haven't lost a game at all. We haven't drawn a game. It's been wins all through. So we beat Wigan in the FA Cup 4th round, 4-0. That was quite nice. Everton 1-0. Bit of a struggle, but we got through it. And then we have won consistently. We've had some weird results, though, in terms of who we've struggled against and who we haven't struggled against. So Nottingham Forest, Everton, struggles. Liverpool, Newcastle, pretty easy. It's been weird, but I'm glad that we're getting the points. That's the main thing. And if we can get the points, that is all that really matters. If we can get the wins, that's all that really matters as well. In terms of the squad, I did do a bit of a, let's be honest, a bit of a balls up. I did a team meeting. It didn't go very well. I don't think there's a way for me to show you it, but it didn't go very well. I did it preempting the cup final, but then we actually got another one specifically for the cup final, and we kind of saved things a bit there, but morale could be worse, but it could be a little bit better, but I think it will be fine. Now, in terms of the squad for the cup final, a couple of things we need to talk about. Jacob Ramsey is out of the cup final. He's so close to being back. He should be back for that second leg of the Europa Conference League, but he's not in this one. Diaby should be out as well, but he has had an injection. Emi Martinez has recently had an injury as well. However, he's just about fit enough to come back in. We did have an injury to Kamara. I can't remember whether you saw that or not. You may have done, but I'm not sure. He's now fit as well. So, the starting lineup for the Carabao Cup final in Season 1 of this Aston Villa save is as follows. Deep breath, everybody. Martinez in goal. Cash, Konsa, Torres and Digne in defence. Kamara, Tielemans and Douglas Luiz in the midfield, with Zaniolo and Lamar supporting Watkins up front. Zaniolo has had a bit of an up and down period, but he's still absolutely superb. Lamar, again, has the occasional game. He's in a really good run of form. Watkins has maintained his run of form as well. He's now our second highest goal scorer, which is lovely to see. Tielemans has been playing well. Douglas Luiz has been playing okay. Again, we have really missed Kamara because, if I'm being completely honest with you, Christopher Ayer's not really cut it. He's had one or two decent games, but he's not looked particularly great. Cup tied today along with Diogo Dalot. So we're having to work with someone like Latomba, who, by the way, isn't even in our Premier League squad anymore because we just didn't have the room for him. Right, enough talking, enough nonsense. Let's get to the game. And fingers crossed we can go ahead and win it. I mean, it's Manchester City. It's a cup final. When you see the state of their squad, I mean, look at it. I mean, just look at it. Okay, they've got Rico Lewis in, but they've got Stones, Gvardiol, Ake, Rodri, Silva, Nunez, Grealish, Haaland. They've signed Angel Correa. But then look at the players on the bench. I mean, Kyle Walker, Doku, Alvarez, Akanji. Okay, they've got a few other players as well, including this Pepe, who I don't know about. I'm a bit surprised that they're not starting Zach Steffen in the cup final, but I mean, yeah. I don't really know what to say here because I want to say something that, by the way, yes, I am wearing glasses. It's a new pair, and I'm trying to remember that I should wear them more often than not. I don't really know what to say because I want to G them up as best as possible, but I don't want to put too much pressure on them. So if we just say if we play as well as we did last time, we'll go out and win the trophy. I feel like that's a safe thing to do. Now, it hasn't really reacted to anyone, so we'll just tell them all to make me proud. That seems to have worked. Let's get into it, shall we? Oh, I'm all kinds of nervous. I really am. I mean, I'm not going to be too depressed if we don't win. I'll be sad. I will be sad. I mean, a little sniffle there just in case. I will be a little bit sad, but I'm not going to be too gutted. Jack Grealish playing against us. It's going to be interesting to see how he does. I mean, we have played Man City earlier in the season. For the life of me, I can't remember what the results were. I have a shocking memory, so it's not a massive surprise. But I do feel like we haven't necessarily been bodied by them. In fact, I feel like we have beaten them this season, but I might be misremembering that. Pau Torres is there, and Pau Torres has put us in the lead in the 7th minute. We worked on our corners before the game. It's paid off. We've gone and scored an early goal at Wembley. Get in there. Come on, boys. Lamar with the corner, as he has done most of the season, whipping a beauty in there. And there is Pau Torres. Signing we made. Signing we made crosses it into a signing that was made before we got here. We lead early on. It's all us at the moment. Manchester City having very little in the way of opportunities from the looks of things. Match momentum up until this point has been almost all in our favour. There's been one moment where they have gone ahead of us in it. And they are giving the ball away left, right and centre. Thomas Lemar now out wide to Luiz. Luiz continues it on to Zaniolo. Zaniolo now whips it. It's a weird one, and Bernardo Silva intercepts. A bit of a miscommunication there, and here come Manchester City. Erling Haaland now, the danger man himself on the ball. He's been forced out wide there. He comes to Correa, into Bernardo Silva, and it is a save by Emi Martinez. Now, had Martinez actually been injured, would Robin Olsen have made that save? I'm not sure he would have done. I'm not sure. They've gone short here. We have seen how dangerous short corners can be in our favour. It hasn't worked for them, though, thankfully. Goodness me, what a blistering start to this game. Whew! Wonderful. Well, I'm very happy so far. Manchester City starting to get a handle back on the game, though, as you would expect them to. I'm not expecting that we're going to continue that level of dominance we saw to begin with. I'm expecting they're going to come into it. I mean, the match momentum slide has definitely shifted back in their favour. I did have a point I was going to make, and it has disappeared. With all of the shenanigans and madness that was going on there, it's completely gone out of my head. It will come back to me, I'm sure. It will come back to me. Right, Konsa into Tielemans into Watkins to Luiz to Zaniolo. Zaniolo has space to run into, and Zaniolo's shot is saved by Ederson, and it's going to be another corner. It's Lamar. Is he going to look for Torres again? Will he look for Konsa? It's in. It doesn't get to anyone at all, and the chance goes completely. Good opportunity, but we didn't make the most of it. But we have the ball again here in a highlight. Matty Cash loses the ball. Ake can't quite get it off of him, but the ball is lofted up and away. But we get the possession back again. Tielemans, Cash, Watkins. What an opportunity for... Oh, it's offside anyway, but what an opportunity for Ollie Watkins to get a second. It would not have counted. But we do lead at half time. Match momentum and XG are in our favour. Chances are in our favour. Wow, it's the tie. I'm telling you, it's the tie. Right, well, what on earth do we say to them? Kept it relatively simple, and I've told them that they're playing well. I feel like, let's just not mess about. Let's just keep things fairly simple for them. Anyone who's on a 6.7 is going to just be told to push on a little bit. We have told Kamara he needs to improve. I'm happy with Ollie Watkins, how he's playing, actually. He has put the ball in the back of... Well, he's not put it in the back of the net. He's come very close to putting it in the back of the net. So... I'm just not going to push them too hard. Let's just go ahead and see whether we can continue pushing them. Because if we're giving them things to think about, in the nicest possible way, if they're having to defend us, we don't have to defend them in that moment. And we start with another free kick. Digne! Ooh. 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 Lovely free kick. Obviously, it doesn't go in. It ends up hitting the post and going out. Man City looking like they're coming back into the game a little bit with momentum, but we're still chipping away at them. We're in the 70th minute. It's still 1-0. It feels like it's change of clock. Right. The 6.6s, let's look at these guys. So Kamara and Tielemans are a couple of them. It's a bit of a problem because we don't really have the midfield firepower to bring on in order to settle things down a bit. So... I don't really know what the best thing to do there is. I mean, Tielemans... We could take Tielemans off and we could bring on Paulo Fornals. Fornals has been decent for us recently. Not spectacular, but decent. I'm going to do that. There's no point in, I think, shifting Douglas Luiz there. We could do it a little bit later, but Douglas Luiz is fine. And I feel like John McGinn, he's been a bit of a liability recently, so I'm not going to risk it. Right, Nicola Zaniolo. The thing is, he can pop up with a goal, but then Diaby can as well. But Diaby's carrying the injury. So there's part of me that thinks, do we bother with Diaby? Maybe we leave that for now. Ezri Konsa, not having a good game. But again, Diego Carlos has had the odd issue. However, I think we're going to do this. And we'll move them around and we'll put Pau Torres there. Pau Torres isn't the best there, but he can do a job. I am actually going to change him to a ball-playing defender because he's done quite well in that position in this game. Right, we're going to stick with that for now. And we've still got time to make more changes if we need to. Right, we start the highlight with Manchester City in possession. Are we going to get a Manchester City masterclass to get the equaliser here? It's a loose pass from Jack Grealish. I tell you what, Konsa intercepts and we have possession back quite cheaply from Manchester City. And let's see what we can do with it. Right, Digne. Kind of dwelling on it a little bit here. Gets to Tielemans. Tielemans back to Kamara. Goes out wide to Matty Cash. Matty Cash now with a bit of space to run into. Thinking about his options here. He's running really far forward into Watkins. Watkins has to hold it up and goes back to Ezri Konsa. Back to Matty Cash now, who's going to go out wide. Hasn't got much support. Gets it to Zaniolo, though. Zaniolo cuts inside. Goes all the way back to Konsa. We're doing well to keep possession here. I tell you what. Konsa is tackled and Digne with the shot. And he manages to win another corner. And again, we know how dangerous we can be with corners. We scored from it. Apparently, though, that's not an example of it. I mean, the game was just like, no, Stu. No. Calm yourself down. Right. 78th minute. Well, 79th minute now. Let's make a couple more changes. I'm going to keep Lamar on because of his set-piece ability. I am going to take Zaniolo off. We're going to take a gamble on Musa Diaby's fitness. We'll give him a chance. He's got a little bit of magic in him. Right, I am going to make the change. Kamara is going to come off. Douglas Luiz is going to go to ball-winning midfielder. And John McGinn is going to come on in midfield. So that's 4 changes. I have got 1 left. I think I'm going to leave it for now. Yeah, no, I am. I am going to leave it for now. Stick with what we've got, and I'm going to demand more from the boys. Haven't done many shouts in this game. We have been the better team in this game. It would just be our luck now that Man City would find a way. And it has to be Jack Grealish, doesn't it? It has to be Jack Grealish. Do you know what? The more the momentum was in our favour, the more chances we had than them. You could just feel the smell of an FM coming along, and there it is. Docker into Grealish. It's deflected off of John McGinn. What did I say? John McGinn. Right. Fire up. Come on, lads. We've been the better team. Let's prove it. Oh, my word. What a ball from John McGinn to Diaby. Diaby with a heavy touch. And Gvardiol has given a penalty away. Diaby has been fouled. The ball was running out anyway. Gvardiol has made a silly decision. But is it going to get given? It has been given. Commentary saying that Diaby went down easily. I disagree. He was fouled. He was shoulder barged. Right. Douglas Luiz scores against his former club. Remember, Douglas Luiz came from Manchester City. Came to Villa. And in real life, he is becoming he is a bit of a hero, to be fair. He's becoming a legend now because he may have just scored the goal that wins us a trophy. Douglas Luiz. Goodness me. Okay, right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the final change now. I'm actually going to take Ollie Watkins off. And the reason why I'm going to do that, do I do that actually? I could bring... No, I am going to do that. The reason I'm going to do it is because John Duran will have pace to burn. He's not the quickest player actually, but he's going to be fully fit. I mean, I could just not do it. I could just back out of it. But no, I'm committing. We're going to bring him on because he's a physical... Is he a physical presence? Ish. He's fully fit, is what I'm getting at. And just having him up there is just going to cause a little bit of chaos. In my head, that makes sense. In my head. But then I could just bring Moreno on. Now, do you know what? Buyer's remorse. Moreno's going to come on for Lamar. Because Lamar, considering he had that assist early on, he's dropped to a 6.9. He's not had the best game. Let's bring Moreno on. And let's have him be a bit more of a defensive-minded winger. So he's cutting back a little bit, supporting Luca Digne. That feels like the right thing to do. He's nervous. Hopefully he gets that out of his system. Right. Come on, boys. How much added time is there going to be? 6 minutes of added time. The light's gone off. I'm going to leave it off. And we win our first trophy in Football Manager 2024. Not just in this save, but in FM24. Yes, it's the Carabao Cup. I don't care. It's the last trophy Villa won in real life. I'm quite happy with. Well, technically, I suppose it was the playoff trophy from the Championship. But I don't care because we have just won that trophy. Look at me over there, clapping up, hands in the air, happy, letting the squad have all the plaudits. Really, it was me who masterminded this. But I'll let the players have it. What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. Do we still have a cartwheel? We do still have a cartwheel. That's a different camera angle than we've ever had before. But we do still have the cartwheel over there. Emi Martinez, who nearly missed the game, lifts the trophy. And it's Pau Torres and Douglas Luiz with the goals. Jack Grealish, former Villa player, who I'm not going to lie, depending on what's going on with Jack Grealish and depending on happiness and things like that, I'm tempted to try and bring him back to Villa in this save. But despite his best efforts, we win it with an 84th minute penalty. And we are the Carabao Cup champions, which means we have an automatic Europa Conference League place next season. Not that. Is it Europa Conference League or Europa League? I feel like it's Europa. Is it Europa League? Either way, it doesn't really matter because we're not going to need that to get into Europe. We're going to do well in the league, but we've got that as a failsafe. We've got that as a backup. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. The second I saw it was Manchester City, I thought to myself, that's it. It's game over. Turns out it wasn't. Turns out it was not. We have a trophy win. Isn't that just a wonderful, wonderful thing? That is very, very unexpected. I mean, Diaby is now out for a bit longer as a result. We will leave him to the physio. But the board is happy. I mean, goodness me. Minimum expectation was quarter-final. We went and won the bloody thing, which is great. I mean, look at Man City's running the tournament. That's ridiculous. But we've won it now. Get in there, boys. Right. Well, it's Arsenal in 3 days' time. Back to reality with a bit of a bump there. Arsenal in 3 days' time. And then we have got... I think my head's going to be in the way of some of this potentially. It might not be, actually. But we have then got West Ham in the league, Sparta Prague in the first leg away from home. It means the deciding one is in front of our home fans though, and then we've got a cheeky game against Luton just before it. I'm kind of glad we've got Luton in between those two. I think, no disrespect to Luton, but they are currently 19th in the Premier League, so I think we should be able to not rest back, but I think we can have a bit of a breather in that one. So I'm going to go and play those 4 games, calm myself down a little bit, take this ridiculous tie off, and hopefully we can get through in Europe as well. I really hope so, because I don't really want to end the episode on a downer, if I'm honest. Okay, if we were not in Europe, this would have been a game. Oh my word. I know it only looks like a simple one, but 2-0. We won against Arsenal. We weren't in it in the first half, and then we got a penalty. Like, we were genuinely struggling to get a foothold on the game, but then that penalty came. Douglas Luiz stepped up, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is this goal, which will probably never load. But this was the important thing. Just watch this. Just watch. Okay? Because words can't do it justice. Douglas. Big match Doug. Calm yourself. I could not believe that. And I'm gutted as well. If we weren't in Europe, we would have shown you that game, but you know, it is what it is. But there are the rest of the results we've had. So we still haven't lost a game for quite a while. We ended up with an unbeaten February, 100% record in February, in fact. So we then beat West Ham 5-2 in the league. Disappointed to concede the 2 goals that we did, but we did. But a couple of goals from Watkins, a couple of goals from Lamar, and an Alex Moreno goal, a rare one at that, putting us through. Sparta Prague was a bit of a disappointing one. 1-0 away from home. To be fair, it's 1-0. It's away from home in Europe, but I thought we could have got more, to be honest with you. But we won the game, that's the main thing. And then, again, defensively, quite disappointing. Conceding 2 goals against 19th place Luton. Not what I really wanted to do. But Carlos Tielemans, Douglas Luiz again. and a goal from Christopher Ayer, who is starting to look a bit better than he was, getting us through that one. But that brings us to this game, the second leg in the round of 16 against Sparta Prague. And this is the 11 we're going to be putting out. But before we do, some good news coming up. Buendia, Mings, both of them into orange fitness. They're nowhere near ready yet, don't get me wrong. Both of them are around 2 to 5 weeks away from being playable. And then there's the kind of issue about match sharpness. So they're probably still out for the season. But it's good to see that they're getting there. It is really nice to see that they're getting there. Other than that, the only fitness concern is Kamara. He's on the bench, but we're not going to use him. So this is the 11 that we're going to be using for the second leg in the round of 16 of the Conference League. It is Martinez in goal, Dalot, Torres, Carlos and Digne in defence, Ayer, Tielemans and Luiz in the midfield with Diaby, Lamar and Watkins up front. Ooh. Let's do this, shall we? I have every confidence in this 11 to get past this opposition. But it's Football Manager and it's cup football. We all know these things can go south very quickly. So, fingers crossed that's not going to happen. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. We really should be blowing this lot away, I think. I think we're more than good enough to beat them. No disrespect to them, but come on. We should be more than good enough to destroy them. And yet, they've had the first shot of the game. Now, momentum-wise, we have been better, but they've had the first opportunity. Find that a bit disappointing, if I'm honest. Right, Ayer goes back to Torres. Torres now, looking to bring the ball out of defence, but got a feeling he might go backwards. He doesn't. Goes to Tielemans. Watkins. Ayer now at the base of that midfield. Goes to Lamar. Lamar, lovely little touch there. And it's so unlucky from Lamar. But you saw Ayer being a bit more progressive. He was looking a bit rough. We actually were playing him in the half-back role that Boubacar Kamara has been playing. I do love me a half-back. However, I do apologise. There appear to be ghosts in this house. The door to my little office decided to open on its own. Apologies for that. Diaby now out wide. I've got no idea where we were, but obviously we are in an attacking mood, but then we give the ball away. So the ghost has done its damage there in the game as well. And now, all of a sudden, Sparta have a chance to break. I'll be very disappointed if we can see the goal against this lot, because we really shouldn't be. But Ayer does intercept. Again, Ayer as a ball-winning midfielder just looks a different planet. Ollie Watkins scores, by the way, makes it 2-0 overall, 1-0 on the night. Christopher Ayer is a centre-back by trade, who also can do a very good job as a defensive midfielder. We just have chosen to use him as a defensive midfielder. Because he can play predominantly as a centre-back, in my head I'm thinking, well, centre-back, he must be able to be a good half-back as well, because they're very, they're related positions. But for whatever reason, ball-winning midfielder is his preferred position. And I mean, he's doing well in it in the second game in a row. So, who am I to argue? Who am I to argue? We should also consider it's been Sparta Prague and it's been Luton. No offence to fans of both teams, but that's probably got something to do with it. Either way, I'm happy. What I'm not happy about is the fact that they've just gone and scored. What is it with our defence? Our defence just can be so leaky at times. We're set to press so high and so intently that it's so disappointing. That's prime Barcelona. I'm sorry. That is prime Barcelona. There's nothing we could have done about that. The game just decided it wanted to press us. So I'm actually going to demand more from the team, because that is very disappointing that we've let that happen. Very disappointing indeed. The fact that we're not dominating this away at home is mildly concerning. Diego Carlos puts us back ahead on the night. We were leading anyway overall, but it's so disappointing that we've gone and conceded that goal. Emi Martinez hasn't really been at fault for a lot of the goals we conceded this season. There's been one or two where you can look at, their goalkeeper's been atrocious there. There's been one or two that you can look at and you can kind of go, okay, sir, what are you doing there? You can kind of look at it and kind of raise an eyebrow at it, but, I just don't understand it. I really don't, because our defence has been so... On paper, is so much better. Tactically, it should be doing things differently. We've got good scouting. It's good scouting, that's not the right word. Good training, that's the word I was looking for. So I don't understand why that happens. But then also, I think that was Football Manager being Football Manager, because that passing was beautiful. I'm going to say that we're doing well, even though I'm not overly happy, especially with the wide guys. You guys have been atrocious and need to sort your lives out. Pau Torres as well. Been a bit underwhelmed with him, I've got to be honest with you. He's a very good defender, and I love him in real life, but in the game he's been quite disappointing. Right, do we make any changes? I am tempted to put Matty Cash on, actually, and we are going to do that. I'm going to leave Lucas Digne on. Hopefully we've given him a bit of a kick up the backside. Zaniolo might come on, but I'll leave it for now. I'll just stick with the one change. Let's just see whether we can just get a bit more of a foothold in the game. I'm just going to demand more from the team, because that's a very disappointing first half, I think. Even though we're leading it, I think we are capable of so much more than that. I mean, our passing has been quite weak. I just realised I've got Carabao in their team. Is that the Carabao I'm thinking of? I signed a guy called Adam Carabao for Parma in FM22, I want to say. And he was like a superstar. He was like the gem, the jewel in the crown, as it were. He was absolutely superb. And if it is him, fair play. They've got a decent player. I mean, a decent young player. I don't know what it'll be like now, but yeah, I'm going to have to look, because he's playing quite deep there. And he was an attacking midfielder, if I recall correctly. We'll have a look at him in a minute. But yeah, I'm very underwhelmed by our defensive performances this season overall. Like, we seem to be one of those teams that's just like, we'll just outscore you. Like, we will just outscore you. It doesn't matter how many goals you score against us. We know we can score more, which is fine. But what if we come up against a team that we can't outscore? Do you know what I mean? Like, it just disappoints me a little bit. So maybe we need to have a look at our training. Maybe we need to have a look at the staff. Maybe we need to have a look at the tactics as well. It's not Adam Carabao, by the way. It's some of the, I don't know, pretender. I mean, to be fair, I will say this. Sparta know they need to win this because they're already losing it. So they have come out fighting, but I think we've probably beaten the fight out of them now. So maybe I'm overthinking it a little bit. I mean, we've gone and scored another one. Pau Torres, after me criticising him, he heard me and he's gone, do you know what, Stu? You're right. Boom. Have that. And it's 4-1. And I'm a little bit happier. I'm still not happy we conceded that goal, but it's European football. It's Football Manager. These things happen. If we concede a second, I'll be furious. I'll be absolutely furious, because there's no way. I genuinely thought for a second. I genuinely thought that was going to be a goal. Oh, I was getting ready to be mad. But it wasn't, and that's the main thing. Right, substitution o'clock. I should say, we've got the FA Cup quarter-final immediately after this game against Liverpool. I'm thinking about resting a couple of players. I think you can probably agree with that sentiment. We're going to bring Scott McTominay on. He's fit again, by the way. I think you already knew that, but just putting it out there, he is fit again. Lucas Digne's had another poor performance. I mean, Matty Cash has been doing really well since coming on, so fair play to him. And Moussa Diaby hasn't had his best game. I am, however, going to leave Diaby on, swap him with Lamar. And we're going to bring Zaniolo on, who we have given a bit of a telling off because he has gone off the boil recently. So hopefully that sends a bit of a rocket up him, hopefully, and just gets a bit more out of it after his stellar first half to the season. It would be nice to see him performing a little bit better. Right, into the final section of the game. We have got that one more substitution left. I am going to make it. I mean, I'm thinking Douglas Luiz can come off for Jacob Ramsey. A bit more first-team football for Jacob Ramsey since his injury. Hasn't really got back to the form that he was in just yet, but then he hasn't played a full 90 minutes, so that will come. Again, I'm a bit disappointed by this performance, but the main thing is it's nigh on impossible for them to get back into this now, so we are through. It is going to be a European quarter-final for us. Okay, it's the Conference League, but still, it counts. So it'll be interesting to see who we get. I don't think it's been drawn yet, but I mean, the match is on the night. Luzern, whoever they are, have won their game, and they've won their tie by a lot. Dynamo Kiev have actually got through by a decent amount as well. And it looks like Midtjylland have gone through as well. I had to really think about the pronunciation, and I'm still convinced I got it wrong. So we're through. Do we have any idea of who we're going to be facing? Let's have a quick look at the competition. And let's just see. Right, quarter-final. So at the bottom, the teams are there who are in it. Now, you can't see half of it because my face is in the way, so I'm going to read them out. So it's Brighton, Dynamo Kiev, Besiktas and Luzern are over on that side. And you can see, obviously, Midtjylland, ourselves, Fiorentina and Lille. That's very winnable. Those are the teams that we have to compete against. I mean, okay, we know Brighton from domestic football. We know they're a challenging team. Besiktas are going to be a challenge, and Dinamo Kiev will pose some kind of concerns as well. Probably the strongest two there that I'll be worried about would be, well, alongside Brighton and potentially Besiktas, would be Fiorentina and Lille. Lille, I think, have the potential to be the strongest opposition. So I'm intrigued to see exactly how this will go. I've just seen the draws coming up. So actually, hold fire a second. I'm going to do the draw, and then we'll find out who we're playing in the quarter-final. Draw's been done, and, well, on paper, I'd say we've got one of the easier draws we could have. FC Lausanne from Switzerland. I don't know much about them, if I'm being honest. I mean, they've got -1 social media followers, which, I'm going to guess that's a bug. That's probably something to do with the skin I'm using. That's quite funny, though. That is quite funny. What... Can we... Is there a way to find out what their European ranking is? I don't actually know. I've never looked for their a team's European ranking before. I mean, I know it's going to be there, but... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what star of club are they? So they've got a 3-star reputation. So we have a 3.5-star reputation. So we are a better team than them. And we've got 3,104,630 more followers than them, because remember, they have got the -1. In terms of competitions that they've won the Swiss Super League, they've won the equivalent of the Cup, and they've won whatever the Challenge League is. We've got no excuse. We should be beating this team. Now, granted, they have just won and have just gone through against Club Brugge, who I would have said, on what limited knowledge of European football I have, a team that should have beaten them, quite frankly. So they have done that. We should have more than enough to get past them in the quarter-final. Which brings me to when we will be back. I mean, we're obviously going to come back for that. We'll come back for the semi-final, sorry, the second leg of the quarter-final that will hopefully take us through to a semi-final. We'll pair that up with a league game. Unless we get through to the FA Cup semi-final, then we might do that if it comes around the same time. But I think we'll pair it up with maybe Tottenham. Yeah, let's do Tottenham. Let's do a bigger game for once. I say for once. Played Manchester City earlier in the episode, Stu. You've already forgotten. But we'll pair it up with those two. Unless, again, we have the FA Cup semi-final. If we get past Liverpool, then if it's around, then we'll try and tie the two together. That feels like the best plan for me. Thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to leave a like on the video if you have enjoyed. And don't forget to subscribe. It's completely free to do so. And you will make me a very happy chap. I've been Stu. You guys have been awesome. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.